let's get it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Microsoft Global Community Initiative General Session. This is our November session. My name is Tiffany Lee. If you didn't know that, I am a product manager here in Microsoft in the Microsoft 365 work area. So let's get started. So first, with digital code of conduct, with any sort of Microsoft event, whether it's hybrid, in person, online, we're going to be able to look at this code of conduct and hopefully adhere to it in helping everyone create a welcoming and safe environment. If you have any more questions about that, then feel free to look at that slide or download the slide after the fact and look at the link to find out more. So next, our agenda. Our agenda today involves our announcements as usual. We have our subcommittee updates from our various great subcommittee members, such as our regional leads and board members. And then we have our exciting topic today, Community Days Ottawa, where we will have our speaker, Maadarani, for our AM session, that's right now, and then Habib, which is our PM session, which is later on today. Some community events and updates, and then our open discussion forum where you can come on live to ask us your question or ask us in the Microsoft Tech community. So next, we're going to bring on our reason for our updated call format is this new format is because we're enabling basically more people to embrace a new community interaction and reach through different formats, such as you're watching us, you could be watching us through YouTube, as well as the Microsoft Tech community. And this is just so that wherever you're watching in the world, you're able to access it on demand at your time or otherwise. And if you wanted to join us at the open discussion at the end of the call, you could still do so. We will have a banner later on to enable you to join us live, or you can ask us your question via text over the Microsoft Tech community, and we can go on. So announcements, we do have our show, My Mondays at Microsoft with Caruana and Heather. This is on the Microsoft community on LinkedIn, and this is a bi-weekly show with Caruana and Heather, and they're great. This is almost like a fireside chat style, interview or updates where they congregate all the different updates and news and events all over Microsoft and bring it to you in a sort of condensed format, very lighthearted, drinkable over coffee if you're in that time zone format. So if you've ever missed that one of those episodes and you want to see what's going on there, or you want to see, previous episodes, then you can do so at aka.ms/Mondays at Microsoft. And then they also have show notes as well if you just wanted to read, a text version of what they went over. So next I'm going to bring on Isadora to talk about communication workstream update.
Hi, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening. Depends, of course, where in the world you are joining us from today. My name is Isadora Katanich. I'm a Microsoft MVP based in Switzerland. And today I'm happy to present our communications update that we worked on or are working on. So first of all, if you're posting on Twitter or X, LinkedIn, Instagram, whichever social media channel, and you want to get featured in the newsletter of MGCI, make sure you use #CommunityLove. You can see it here on the screen, so we can actually look out for your updates and feature you in one of our upcoming newsletters. The November newsletter is ready to go, so stay tuned. It will be coming up soon to your inbox. Another update, something very interesting we did last month at the Microsoft AI Tour in Paris. So Heather Cook and I presented a fully dedicated to MGCI theater session during the event, as well as Tom Daly and I did also at the No-Code, Low-Code Power Platform Conference, where we had a 50 minutes time slot to really present like what is a Microsoft Global Community Initiative, what's in it for you, how to join, including a QR code, of course, to get more members to join the MGCI community. If you're interested in the slide deck, you can go to the community event tenant. There in the event section, you will find slides to the deck. Of course, feel free to use them for your event. And in case you are an event organizer yourself and you think like, hey, it would be interesting to have an MGCI session in a community slot, definitely reach out to any of our board members. We will be happy, of course, to spread the community love. And then last but not least, Microsoft Ignite is coming up soon. Heading this Saturday and flying over to Chicago. Very excited, and what's going to be pretty cool, we will have a dedicated MGCI booth. Maybe Tiffany can tell a bit more about that later during Ignite. So stay tuned. In the newsletter, we will communicate more info. So if you happen to be in person in Chicago, make sure you come visit us. Thank you, Tiffany.
Alrighty, next we're going to bring on Tom for communitydays.org feature updates.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Daly. I'm Microsoft MVP, and I'm the developer behind communitydays.org. So we have quite a bit of updates since last month. We've just done a lot. So I'm not going to go through everything exactly, but you can see in column 1, we are rolling out lots of features. A lot of them are bug fixes and style updates. We've enhanced the event entry form, so we've made it a little bit quicker, more responsive. We're sort of battle hardening the login process. So if you don't have like a username or email, you have to put that in when you first sign up. So some of the things about the events being sorted out of order, we have fixed those issues on the homepage. We're actually in the process of rolling out the ability to see all the events as a list. And shortly thereafter, you'll be able to see it as a calendar. Some of the things, again, sorting, and we actually have 2 style updates for September and October going into these releases that are coming out. We've added the functionality to validate the homepage so that events don't show up as blank. So it's now required to enter 150 words about your event before you can get it listed. Or also adding the dates to session times, because multi-day events, you were not sure what day the actual session would appear on. So we're adding that in as well. And we've received a lot of great feedback from a couple of our community members. This is how we are notified about bug fixes. So for this month, we have Russ Onazuka and Jason Rivera and Manpreet Singh. They've been giving me tons and tons of little bug fixes and things to address, and as you can see, we do get to them eventually. We're also working on some admin review and enhancements. Again, disabling the tabs. So if you see that there may be some empty tabs, we're going to be hiding those so that if they're not used, we don't want to see them. We're still working on changing the calendar into your time zone. So right now it's showing as the event local time zone. We're going to change that to show into your time zone as well. There'll be a toggle box. We're also adding event guidelines because a lot of people are a little bit confused still on what can be listed there. So we're making it more clear before you start going through the whole process of what types of events should be listed on Community Days. Like I said before, we're going to have the events being listed as a calendar, so you can see like a monthly view of everything that's happening. We're also integrating Bing API for the maps to be able. So if you're creating an event, you can just type in the address and it'll show your pin location on the event listing. Okay, so and then lastly, what are we working on? What's coming up next? Reminders for draft events. So there's a lot of events that are created and never published. So we're going to be reminding people that, hey, you have an event that needs to get published. We're going to be doing social sharing of events. We're going to integrate a little bit closer with the Sessionize and Run Events mobile applications. And we're also looking into different status on events. So like canceling, postponing, the ability to resubmit your event, those types of things. So that's what we're working on this month. And that's about it for now. So back to Tiffany.
Great. Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate it. So we're going to bring on our last subcommittee update. We're going to bring on David Levier.
Looks like there we go. Hi, everybody. I'm David Levier here. Thank you, Tiffany, for that smooth transition. Over on the training work stream, we have a couple updates. Later this month, in about 10 days, we're going to be on November 22nd. The topic that we're going to be talking about are event recaps and lessons learned from the Los Angeles and Minnesota events. And I and Wes Preston will be hosting an office hours open discussion where you can bring your questions about how to run a meeting, whatever it is that is on your mind about creating a Community Days event. And then we'll be taking a break in December and enjoy that holiday time together with friends and family. Thank you so much. I'll turn the time back over to Tiffany.
All right. Thank you so much, David. Appreciate it. If you're interested in joining David's office hours, the one that he's holding with Wes Preston, feel free to join us at aka.ms/MGCI, where you'll be invited to our community tenant. And that's where we hold the other calls outside of this general session. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to welcome our special guest, Mike Maadarani. He's here to talk about Community Days Ottawa. I thought this is a really special topic because he has had a sold-out event in Ottawa. I think there's over 243 attendees. So very, very exciting. And Mike is also one of our MGCI board officers. So again, just thought it'd be great for you all to meet him, as well as hear about his successes of his event and maybe how you can replicate it and maybe some of the things that he would choose to change in the future. All right, let's bring in Mike.
Thank you, Tiffany, for the nice introduction. And hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Glad to be here, and I'm happy to share our experience with the success we've been having with our event in Ottawa. My name is Mike Maadarani, based out of Ottawa, Canada. I am a Microsoft 365 MVP, also a board member of the MGCI. And we just finished our 12th annual event. We started this event back in 2012, back when it was SPS. We used to call it SharePoint Saturday, Ottawa. And then we advanced it to M365 and then Community Days M365 Ottawa right now. Like any other free community events, we do it now on Fridays. We don't do it on Saturdays anymore. And I will talk about that success story as well. And that's one of the contributions into the success is to have it on a different day than Saturday. So we always have, we strive to have a really first-class speakers, and we also always promote new local speakers as well. So we always love to hear from the experts in the industry, whether you have spoken for many times in the past, or whether you are new to the community events. We always like to promote the new speakers as well as the old speakers. So typically we get quite a bit from locally from Ottawa, a lot from the US, and sometimes we get a few from Europe as well. So as a recap to the M365 Ottawa 2024, in total, we had 6 rooms and 6 tracks. We had 30 sessions, 32 speakers, and total out of the 32 speakers, we had 21, whether they are Microsoft, they are Microsoft MVPs or RDs. So we had a packed day. At this time, we opted not to have a keynote. So we started the day earlier and we ended the day earlier, so to give people a chance to go back home after we did the mingle. So it was really a focus on a lot of different subjects, and we do have some graphs that we can talk about that as well. So this is kind of recap of what some of the speakers here. Some of them from the organizers or the actual speakers themselves. So, and like Tiffany had mentioned, we were sold out, and that was the 3rd year in a row that we sell out. We had a total registration of 340. Attendance was 245. So out of the 340, we had about 40 something people between speakers and sponsors. We had a total of 9 sponsors, 2 platinums, 3 gold, 3 silver, and 1 track. So with that, because we had to cap, the Microsoft Office can only allow us about 220. So we had 245, because as you know, as an event or a free event, even in paid events, not everyone show up at the same time. So we really added a little bit more above the required fire code, but we stayed within the fire code, within the 220 at any time. So people will show up in the morning sometimes, and people will show up in the afternoon. So but in total, we had 245 people, which was 70% of the general admission, which is the highest number we've ever had. We've always used to have back in SharePoint Saturdays, when we used to do it on a Saturday, the attendee rate used to be about 45 to 50%. And ever since we switched it to Friday, the numbers started to grow slowly. Last year, we had about 65%, and this year we had 70%. So we realized a couple of things. We realized with that doing it on a Friday really helped us increase the number of attendees. Also doing it, given it is in Ottawa before the cold hits, doing it early in the fall, it really helps. The weather is still okay. It's not really cold. People will show up on a Friday. So that really helped us increase that number. The committee makes a big difference, and we'll talk about that in a bit. We are usually around 5 people. 4 of us are MVPs, and all of us have experience, whether presenting at different events or hosting this event. So all 5 have been, or 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 have been with the committee since day one. So been doing it for 12 years, and all 5 of us have been with the committee for the past at least 5 or 6 years, if you exclude some of the COVID years that we didn't do it. So a lot of experience. We know exactly what we're gonna do. Every person knows what they're responsible for. So we don't really do a lot of meetings because we know what the roles are. I will talk about that in a bit. And during the event, we had, on top of our five committee members, we had 6 additional volunteers. And you need volunteers from a registration perspective, setting up the food, guiding the people, taking accounts, answering questions about the venue or about the actual event on the day. So we don't think that 5 was enough. Usually we have 4 or 5 volunteers. This time we had 6 volunteers. That made a big difference. So 6 volunteers will always, more volunteers will always help you run a really smooth event. This year, platform we've used this year, Community Days. We've been using communitydays.org since day one. Prior to that, we used to use SPS events. Then this year, we opted to try a new platform to manage everything. We used Run.Events as a new platform instead of using Sessionize and Eventbrite as 2 separate platforms to manage the event. Run.Events will allow us to use one platform to manage everything, to manage the call for speakers, to manage the day of the event, the registrations, the sponsors, everything. It was just one platform. So we use that platform to manage the event pre-event day, during the event as well, during the day, and post-event as well. We also use always the MailChimp. This is our go-to marketing platform that we always promote the event within the registered attendees that we have. Every year when we have a new event, the attendee list increases, and this is what we use to go and promote the event. On social media, we use social. This year we didn't use it much, actually. We usually use LinkedIn and Facebook and X to kind of promote the event, but we were sold out about 6 weeks before, so we really did not promote it much other than saying, hey, we're almost sold out. If you want to book your ticket, just do it soon. So that really worked out really well. The blasting the attendee list, if you have an attendee list, really helps to do it really ahead of time, so you can get a good success rate on the attendance level. From an attendance overview, those are percentages, and we always, to make sure we give the speakers the right room, we always ask what the interest level of each of the attendees. So on the attendee registration form, we have a questionnaire, and we say, what kind of track are you interested in? And then, as you can see, of course, we're not surprised that AI and employee engagement was the most likable track. And then the business apps were the second one. And then collaboration as well was there as well. So we had quite a bit of success in terms of distributing the actual rooms based on the topic. And we find that this is really, really helpful, because if you want to distribute, because you don't know, like if you have a room, not all the rooms are going to be the same size. So you want to have probably a room that fits 50 people, and another room will fit 20 people as well. So having that questionnaire up front, when you ask the people upon registration what kind of track they are interested in, and you take that statistics a couple of weeks before the event, and you're trying to put the schedule with the rooms, you will be able to assign the right sessions based on how many people are interested in it. So I always advise to do that if you are running an event before you open it up for registration. Make sure you add that kind of questionnaire in there. So what makes our event really such a successful one year over year? Like I mentioned, it has been a sold out year for the third year in a row. Prior to that, the numbers were still good. So usually we used to get around 160 to 180. And then now we're pushing it to close to 250. So basically, we have notes, we repeat the same success year over year. Whether the success is the attendee experience, if we've done something that is really special and the attendees liked it, we will repeat it all the time. Whether the catering was good or not. So we've always had, most of us have changed caterings a few times, and sometimes you hit a catering that was not really good, and one was really, really good, and everyone loved it. And then that's what we did for the past 3 years, that we were able to engage a catering that provided us excellent food. So that's one of the things that we repeat all the time. We do an event survey, and every time there is some comments about any suggestion or someone did not like something about the event, we take that into the next year changes. So we do a recap of the event right after the event. We don't usually wait a month or two, because sometimes you forget things. If you're not taking notes, you forget what things you want to improve on. So the week after the event, we always do a recap, and we will go through all the comments we've had. We also listen to and implement speakers and sponsors' feedback where we can. Of course, sometimes some feedback we cannot accommodate, for example, because we were sold out, all the rooms were packed. Someone said, can you get a bigger venue? That is up into discussion, because we may not be able to get a bigger venue for budget reasons. So we'll always try to get into the feedback and do them as much as possible. One of the feedback we had, for example, from a sponsor last year, that person was the only person at the booth and could not handle talking to people and taking names at the same time. So one of the things they said, it would be great basically to scan the badge so someone can, like, you've been to big conferences where they scan your badge, so they can register that person as a lead, a future lead. So we did that. This year we had quite a bit of sponsors. We had the budget to go invest into printers to print badges, and the badges had QR codes, and we signed up all the sponsors to be sponsors in the app. So the app has the ability to go and scan the attendees, and the sponsors loved it, because they don't have to really take down manually the names of the attendees. If they want to follow up, it's just a scan, and they put a note that basically follow up kind of thing. So we always try to accommodate the sponsors, the speakers, the attendees as much as possible, take all the comments, all their feedback, and try to implement them the next year. Like I said, we do the lessons learned right after the event. So we anything that we want to improve on, we will take notes, and then we will address them at the beginning of the next year event. During the event, you will always probably run into hiccups. So again, same thing. If we run into hiccups, we'll try to correct them on the spot as well. Make sure that the attendees' experience is very successful. The speakers also, and then if something we can do. So again, we take notes into next year. We invest in technology and new ideas, like I mentioned before. If you have the budget, if 1 year you had some extra money because you have a lot of sponsors that have signed up, try to invest in improving the user experience. And that's what we did this year by having the printers on site. We had 2 printers. We had dedicated people at the registration desk that were printing the labels right away. And then people can exchange information through scanning the actual badges. So how do we do it also? We start really early. We start at least 6 months before the event date. That gives us a lot of room to start reaching out to sponsors. It gives us a lot of room to start reaching out to these potential speakers as well. So we also, in addition to the list of attendees we also have the list of speakers, all the speakers that spoke at our event for the past 12 years. So we all say, okay, the call for speakers is already open. Whatever we open it at whatever time in the event, we open it up and then we blast that announcement as well. We have a very strong committee. So we always, if you haven't started yet, look at establishing a strong committee. What does a strong committee mean? Basically, maybe that person may have attended events before, because if you haven't ran an event, you probably have attended an event. Whether that event is big or small, it doesn't matter. You have learned probably how events usually will run a bit. Establish multiple people, maybe reach out to some that they don't have to be living in the same city. I am helping other community events, not in Ottawa, just because I love to do it. So reach out to someone that can help you out as well. If you have a good committee, you will be able to really run a really smooth event. Anything up to lead into the event day is very, very crucial. Before you announce the date, make sure you secure the venue. And we have mechanism through Tiffany as well that will allow, if you don't know who to reach out, for example, at a Microsoft Office, we will be able to help you out with that. So make sure that you secure the venue. And you might think 6 months is a long time. It is not. In a venue like Microsoft Office, where there are a lot of events happening there or a lot of meetings, things get booked up pretty early. And if you are running an event 3 to 6 tracks, let's say, you need at least 6 or 7 rooms to run your event. So make sure you secure the venue first. Reach out to the network of the speakers that you have. So that way, you have really solid speakers. Once you open up the call for speaker, go broadcast your event and say call for speaker is open. However, you broadcast it on your social network. We always do the call for speaker 3 months early. Why do we do this? Just because we always get speakers from out of town, and we want to do the actual speaker selection at least 2 months before the event, so we can give them enough time to book their travel, so they can book travel with cheap rates. So we pick them about 8 weeks before, and then we show the value to the sponsor, whether the repeatable sponsors or new sponsors. We always come up with this marketing newsletter showing the success of the event year over year. And then we have had sponsors that have been with us since day one. So they really see the value. And every year, like I said, we always try to improve. So we will, so they come back to us all the time. And with that, that's the end of it. I can pass it back to Tiffany. I can answer any questions if we have any questions here.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Oh, well, I have a couple just for my own. Well, first of all, congrats on the success of just having 3 years of this event and basically being able to build on every single year. And I really like that story about how you had, like, I think you said a volunteer, right, that couldn't remember the names and talk at the same time. So you ended up scanning badges. That was really helpful. And I think also just even as like a conference, speaker and an attendee when I manage the booth and stuff, usually, like you said, your event had over 200 people, everyone's meeting each other, and no one can really remember, I would say, more than 10 names at a time. And so it is easy, right, when you can just scan somebody else and then maybe send a message so you remember what you and that person talked about. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted a quick question. Like, I know your event was held in Ottawa, Canada. How did you do the recruiting aspect of did most of the participants come from locally, or is it from elsewhere? And just how did you appear to that local audience?
So, because we've had a list of attendees from the past 12 years, every time we add to it, and we send a blast email saying that we have this event is on day so and so, and then we monitor the registration. The attendees are mostly from Ottawa. We also have different channels. Ottawa is a government town. Few of us have some government clients as government departments as clients. So we also send out a blast email to our clients. Some of the committee members will do the same thing. We announce it on social media, but we rely on that mailing list that we have. And that mailing list keeps growing. And we always get questions or emails or feedback that please add me to the mailing list because I wanna be part of that next year. Most of the attendees are Ottawa based, but we've had attendees as far as Boston, which is about 7 hours away from here. So we've had people that drove or flew to Ottawa just to attend the event as well. But those are very rare cases. I would say 90% of the attendees are local.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear it was a great event, Mike. We're going to be able to, let's bring on the banner if we have it, that to basically have people join us live and ask us questions, or ask Mike yourself questions about Ottawa.
There was a question, I think, if the event was free. It was 100% free. Some events will charge like a $5 or $10 and you get the money back, or we take that money and they donate it to a charity. We did not opt for this. When we looked, what we do is we follow up on the registration as well. When we say, hey, you're registered, we're going to be sold out. If you can't make it, please cancel. And we get cancellations. People respond to that. So we always guarantee 65 to 70% of attendance. And then with the extra money we have, we always give to charity. So usually we do the food bank, or this time there's a charity for kids basketball, so we give away to local charity as well. So any extra money, we just invest it back in the community.
Awesome. We do have a live question from
there is another.
Yeah, he's asking if there's an app that used for scanning QR codes.
So correct. So the Run the Events is the platform that we used, and that we will be able to manage everything: the registrations, call for speakers, the sponsors, everything else. The mobile app has a way to scan the QR code. So it's called Run the Events, and we liked it. We're going to reuse it again. And then they suggest their website gives you a lot of information, what kind of printers and what kind of labels you can use. It's pretty easy. I just followed their instructions. We purchased a couple of printers with the labels, and they already have all those templates for the badges in place. You can design your own if you want to, but it comes with the QR code, and the mobile app, you just scan it. It's really, really easy.
Awesome. So just wanted to bring up the banner. If you wanted to join us live, ask us questions, ask Mike some questions about his event, feel free to do that, aka.ms/MGCI meeting am/ask, or just look at the link below us. So yeah, my question would be just in terms of, since you said that some events charge a nominal fee, but in this case your event was free, then how did you judge upon, let's say you provided some goodie bags or something, anything you provide, even snacks, food wise, how did you garner how much to prepare that wasn't too much or too little?
I guess it comes down on the experience or the statistics we've had from before. We have a budget. We know how many sponsors we have. And based on previous events, we know, for example, it's going to cost us $7,000 or $8,000 for catering. And then this is how we budget this. This year, we estimated it's going to be another 65% attendance rate. But we ended up with 70%. So at the registration desk, when people are checking in, we're like, oh, we're going to be short on food. So we had to call and last minute and order more food. So it's a guessing game. You always think it's going to be this much. Sometimes previous years, we had another extra 10 boxes of pizza left and we had to give it away. But based on statistics from previous years, now we can really guess accurately how much food we want. But again, it works with a budget because we know how much money we're getting from sponsors. Then we can budget exactly what kind of catering we want to give. And definitely always, as a suggestion, if you think you want to give people like a cup of coffee in the morning, double that. We always, most of the time, we run out of coffee in the morning.
That's a good suggestion. I've been to some events where they didn't provide coffee, and and it was very sad. Everyone looked really groggy, especially like you said, a lot of times these events are, either Friday morning or Saturday morning, and so it's definitely a good idea to provide coffee. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. And one thing I did want to address, that someone in the comments on our YouTube earlier asked for their email being not received when they wanted to join when joining MGCI. So first thing, I want to make sure you did join at the right website address. So it's ak.ms/MGCI. If you did join us there, then you can send a support email to support@msftcommunity.com, and that's how you would make sure everything's flowing well for you. But typically we have an automated flow that you would get that welcome email. You'd be able to join us on the community tenant for those other calls. So hopefully if you you did, then you can just check your spam to make sure you got that email. If not, then definitely send out that support email to us. Alrighty, well, thank you, Mike, for coming on and sharing your experience and answering our questions, and really, really appreciate it. I can't wait for the next event so you can tell us more about what's going on then, and then it'll be your fourth one in a row. So again, thank you, Mike, appreciate it. And thank you for being a board member of MGCI. I really appreciate your participation.
My pleasure. I love doing this. And if anyone has a follow-up question, how to do things, they can reach out to me, and then definitely would love to help.
Awesome, appreciate it. All right, let's bring on the rest of the content. All right, so before I get into the rest of the events, want to make sure that we want your feedback and we get your feedback. So if you like these talks, these type of topics, you want to hear other topics such as, such as some sort of technology, perhaps like run events that Mike was talking about earlier, or you want to hear about like how to run a smaller scale, larger scale event, et cetera, or about this live streaming content as well, and this sort of format that we're using. We want all of your feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly. So make sure you do give us that ak.ms/MGCI feedback. Alrighty, so upcoming community-led events, November to December. We do have an upcoming run of different events for the rest of the year. You can visit all of these different events and see if you can get involved, either as a speaker, a volunteer, or just as an attendee at communitydays.org. So of these, we have these community-led events, and then if we press on to the next slide, we have our community-produced events. And so I believe Mike, he said that he's going to actually be flying into TechCon 365 Dallas later on today. We do have some Microsoft representatives as well. Mark Cashman, I believe he's going to be keynoting one of the major sessions, as well as Josh Leparati on my team, both on my team, but they're going to be giving great, awesome sessions. So if you're going to be in the Dallas area, make sure that you check out that TechCon 365 conference. And then up next, after this, we can't forget about Microsoft Ignite. Ignite is going to be the 19th to the 21st. It's going to be next week. Of course, this is also another sold out in-person show in Chicago, but we do have a hybrid aspect, and there is going to be some sessions on demand as well. But again, it's going to be fun-filled, tons of Microsoft representatives. We're going to have Jeff Deeper. We're going to have Caruana as well, Adam Harms, and various members of my team going to be there. We are going to be a community lounge, but TBD on the time and dates. I do know that if you are going to be an in-person attendee, then you can go on and look at the session catalog to see where the community lounge will be at and when it's going to be held. But for Microsoft Global Community Initiative, of course, we're going to have our spot there, but I know it's like limited hours just because there's so many different sort of groups that you can visit. But definitely, if you're there, visit us there. But yes, there's going to be tons of product updates, product announcements, and there's also going to be small and medium business sessions as well that hopefully, if you are a small and medium business or you're a person like holding owning your own business, you can check out those sessions, and of course all the different sort of product releases as well. Hopefully you're catching up with that. But again, Isadora is going to be flying in, and Heather on our team, who we've seen in previous calls, are going to be there at the Microsoft Community booth. So please do and visit us there, and hopefully we'll see you there. Alrighty, next. So what's next? I want to remind everyone that we do not have a call in December. So hopefully you have, if you celebrate any sort of those December holidays, hopefully you have a great time, great rest of your year. And then we will see you back in January for our next Microsoft Global Community January session. So before we wrap up the call and bring everyone back on, everyone that's still here to, share your goodbyes, want to make sure you do remember to share your feedback on what you thought of today's call. If you want to see other content, and if you enjoy these calls at all, and how we can improve at ak.ms/MGCI feedback. Of course, if you wanted to join us at the Microsoft Global Community Initiative and have our, internal chats and see the other calls, such as the one that David and Wes holds on training every month, then feel free to join us at ak.ms/MGCI. And of course, we have a relaunch of the Microsoft Tech Community. So if you're not aware, feel free to go check. We relaunched the Microsoft Tech Community, I believe, last Monday. It's going to be, if you haven't seen it yet, it's brand new, it's refreshed. It's going to be way more capabilities than before. So again, just very excited for this update, and you're going to be able to connect with your peers in the different areas of Microsoft that you're interested in. So make sure to check out that techcommunity.microsoft.com. Great. Now, so I think we have maybe one more where there's different. So I wanted to share two more links from here. One is the communities.org, already mentioned it earlier, but if you wanted to, let's say, attract more people or let more people know of your event, for example, Mike's event, Community Days Ottawa, that we spoke about today, he went in and he submitted his event onto communitydays.org. There's going to be a submit your event on the upper right corner. So you're going to be able to do so and be posted on communities.org. And that's how you make the list of all the different Microsoft community calls, and then the community managers will call out your event as they're coming up or as they approach the date. Of course, you can also find out other events local to you, as well as hybrid online events as well. So if you wanted just like a great list, and it's all congregated of all these different sort of community and Microsoft events, feel free to check out communities.org. Shout out to Tom Daly, who presented earlier, because he is the mastermind behind communities.org. And yeah, he does all the things. I can't imagine how he does it, but he is definitely a wizard in that aspect. And then, of course, ak.ms/Microsoft Community. This is basically where you can join us and join the different communities and ask your questions in the community forum. And then Microsoft Community on LinkedIn, and that's where Mondays at Microsoft is held, that show that's just talking about with Carolyn and Heather. So we have all the different areas that you can plug in as much as you want or as little as you want, but definitely communities everywhere, and hopefully you're meeting us either at an event or somewhere else online. Alrighty. Well, with the last couple minutes, I want to bring on everyone and just say thank you so much for, coming on and sharing your updates and being here and part of our community. We really, really appreciate it. Yes, community love. If we can do a heart.
Yeah, but I think my camera's not working anymore. But
come on, Tom.
On this side.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We're going to end the call, and we will see you back all in January. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your year.
See you at Ignite or next year. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. Great job, Tiffany.